Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. If we want to change our lives, we are often told that we need to think big, make drastic changes, or perhaps even move across continents. But what if we could achieve more transformation just through small tweaks to our daily habits? We all tend to overestimate the importance of single actions and underestimate the power of making small improvements repetitively over a long period of time. Actually, real challenge comes from compound effects of hundreds of small decisions or small habits that over time accumulate to produce remarkable results. Changing the lifestyle, behaviors, and identities. Welcome back to the channel and to the new episode of Productivity and Book Club, a series where I summarize the key insight and ideas from some of my favorite books. And today we are talking about Atomic Habits by James Clear, which is all about the power and process of building good habits and breaking bad ones. Through examples from sports, business, and education, along with evidence from psychology and neuroscience, the book explains the science and practical implications of how tiny habits, minuscule changes can grow into life-altering outcomes and help us lead healthier, happier, and more productive lives. There's basically 4 insights from this book that we are gonna talk about in turn. Firstly, we will talk about the power of 1% change over time. Secondly, why we should screw goals and focus on systems instead. Thirdly, why it's all about identities rather than outcome. And finally, we will look at what James calls the 4 fundamental laws of behavior change. So firstly, why does 1% matter? Well, it's all about the power of compounding. Compounding can be amazingly powerful both positively and negatively. If we leave it to develop over a period of time, if we can get 1% better each day for, let's say, a year, we will end up 37 times better by the time we are done. But if we get 1% worse each day for 1 year, we will get down nearly by 0. As James says in his book, habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. Habits don't seem to make much difference on a given day, but the impact over months or years can be absolutely enormous. We don't often think about these small changes just because it takes so long to see the result. We are so attuned in modern society to try and seek instant gratification that it's actually really hard to focus on things that have long-term benefits. Equally, the slow rate of transformation also means that it is really easy to let bad habits creep in, like eating badly and not exercising. And when we repeat these 1% errors day after day, they will accumulate into larger problems. As James says in the book, time magnifies the margin between success and failure. It will multiply whatever you feed in. Good habits make time your ally, and bad habits make time your enemy. One of the other key points from James is analysis of habits is what he calls the plateau of latent potential. Habits often don't seem to make a difference until we cross a critical threshold. We expect progress to be linear, but the key aspect of any key compounding process is that the outcomes are delayed. This leads to an initial valley of disappointment where we don't feel like we are making progress as the results don't follow the linear trajectory that we expect. And so we just give up because we are not getting the results we wanted. But as we can see from the graph, it does take time to build a habit, to allow the compound interest of self-improvements to take hold and gave us amazing results over time. Key point number 2 from the book is to screw goals and focus on systems instead. James identifies 4 main problems with goal setting. Firstly, winners and losers have the same goals. Every Olympian wants the gold medal. Every candidate wants the job. And so it can't be the goal that actually differentiates people. Secondly, achieving a goal is only a momentary change. Sure, I might be able to block up the activation energy to bring myself to clean my room, but if I continue my waistband habits and systems that led to the room getting messy at the first place, I'm just gonna be left with a messy room again in a few days' time. In the same way, when we achieve a goal, we only change our life for the moment. We get these temporary results. Instead, what we really need to change is the systems that cause these results in the first place. Thirdly, James argues that goals restrict our happiness. There is an implicit assumption behind any goal, and that is, once I reach my goal, then I will be happy. And so we end up continuously putting off happiness until the next milestone. Finally, goals are at odds with long-term progress. There is another really nice quote here. The purpose of setting goals is to win the game. The purpose of building systems is to continue playing the game. Like for me, with this YouTube channel, I deliberately don't have any goals for it because what's the point? The first point is that I started to make videos to help scholarship aspirants in developing countries in different parts of the world to be able to learn and win these prestigious scholarship programs such as Chevening, DAD, and Fulbright in the UK, Germany, and the United States. I've always loved to be a mentor, teach, and help others voluntarily. I'm so delighted that through this channel, I can help thousands of people that I have never seen their faces, and I don't know their names. But surprisingly, I get random emails every now and then from people around the world sending me thank you notes for the help that I've provided them through this YouTube channel, and they are now studying in the UK, US, Europe, or other places. You might say that one goal is to hit 1 million subscribers or whatever, but I'm not trying to win YouTube by hitting a certain subscriber count. I just love the process of making these videos every now and then. I don't make like a video every day. Especially previously, you wouldn't see me, committing too much to this YouTube because that was not the goal. The goal was to enjoy, to put a video that people learn something from it and they enjoy it, and I enjoy it for doing something that I'm really loving to do it. And it is fun and it's great and it doesn't make money for me and it's not sustainable. My YouTube doesn't make money. If you want, I can show you how much money it makes and I never got a penny out of it. But I want to continue playing the game. I don't want to try to win the game. Just like James Clear says, it is this idea between system and the goal. And say you are playing a sport. In every sport, the goal is to have the best score on the scoreboard at the end of the game. But it would be ridiculous to spend all game looking at the scoreboard because it wouldn't help you in any way. So in fact, if you just ignored this score the entire time and just focused on a better process or playing a better way or a better scheme or strategy, then you probably would end up with the best score. So now that we have seen why systems are so important, key point number 3 is another quote from the book, and that is, identify change is the North Star of habit change. We have got outcome on the outside concerned with changing the results, and then processes related to our habits and systems, and finally our identity, which is related to our beliefs. Most of us work from outcome to identity rather than identity to outcome. But as James says, the ultimate form of intrinsic motivation is when a habit becomes part of our identity. When we solve problems in terms of outcomes and results, we only solve them temporarily. But to solve problems in the longer term, at the systems level, we need to change our identity. This point really resonates with me. When I first read the book, I've been struggling personally with A, eating healthy, and B, going to the gym for the last several years. And before, I used to have an outcome-based way of looking at this, so I used to think I want to get rid of my belly fat before I'm gonna follow YouTube's low-carb diet. Therefore, I will be a healthy person. But since reading the book, I know how more of an identity-based approach to looking at this. So I try to think in my head, I'm a healthy person. Therefore, as a healthy person, I will eat wholesome food and exercise regularly. And then one day, maybe I will look like John Cena. We will see how that goes. And finally, point number 4. At this point, we are thinking, okay, cool, I'm sold on the idea that it's all about tiny improvements over a very long time, and that's all about systems rather than goals. But how do we actually build those habits in the first place? How do we overcome the difficulty? Well, I'm glad you asked, because we can actually split up the process of building habits into 4 stages. Cue, craving, response, and reward. The cue triggers the brain to initiate an action. The craving provides the motivation force. The response is the action or habit that we perform, and the reward is the end goal. And it is these 4 things, cue, craving, response, and reward, which leads to what James Clear calls the 4 laws of behavior change. The first law is to make it obvious, and it relates to designing our environments around our cues. I have a plan to learn CCNA and pass the Cisco exam in 3 months. So I was always forgetting where I put my CCNA exam preparation book, and kind of didn't have it around me in a priority sense. It wasn't very important for me because my books were not around me and I wasn't thinking about them much. Although my time is running and the deadline approaches very fast. So I changed a couple of things. I changed the wallpaper of my laptop and my iPhone to CCNA and Cisco, a wallpaper I found on Google. B, I divided the number of pages of the book by the number of weeks remaining to my exam. That way, I can keep track of my progress, and the wallpaper always reminds me to study and how much time is left and how many chapters I should read. This trick worked like hell for me. I have an amazing progress since then. Just a little change like A and B built a great habit almost immediately, which reminds me every minute and pushes me to look at my goal and prepare for the exam. This is what James Clear says, the principle of environment design in general, which is you want to put fewer steps between you and good behaviors and more steps between you and the bad ones. And imagine the cumulative impact of living in an environment that exposes you to the cues of the positive habits and reduces the cues of your negative habits. It's kind of like you are just gently being nudged in the right direction each day. I have a very good example for this too. When I go to bed, I put my phone across the room, which I don't have easy access to it, while I have my books and my lovely Kindle, this one, right next to my bed. Just like James says, I have designed this in a way that puts more steps to get to my phone, which is a bad one, and less or almost no steps between me and my Kindle, which is a good habit to read at night, especially like before sleeping. This helps me read every night for at least 30 minutes up to 1 hour before I fall asleep. The second law is make it attractive, which relates to the craving aspect of the habit loop and tries to take advantage of what we know about dopamine. As humans, we are all motivated by the anticipation of reward. So making habits attractive will help us stick to them. And in fact, one of the make it attractive things that I did before going to gym is that I started listening to fantasy audiobooks on Audible. The third law is make it easy, and the aim here is to reduce the friction and to prime our environment for the habits that we would like to develop. There is a phrase that I really like, and that is, friction is the most powerful force in the universe. I have seen this so many times in my own life. Like anything I can do to reduce the friction to make doing a good thing slightly easier will pay dividends in the long run. Like having my Kindle right next to my bed, having my bike right next to my door means that my default procrastination when I can't be bothered to do any work or film a video is that I will read in my Kindle, which is next to me or next to my bed when I'm in my bed, or go out biking because the bike is just right next to the door and I can just pick it up to, have some free time outside. Like reducing the friction makes it far more likely for me to do the thing because they are available for me. And the fourth law is to make it immediately satisfying. Our brains have evolved to prioritize immediate rewards over delayed rewards. And the cardinal rule of behavior change is what is immediately rewarded is repeated, and what is immediately punished is avoided. We get short-term bursts of dopamine from scrolling aimlessly through Instagram to playing video games in our phones all day, making us more likely to repeat these bad habits. To develop better habits, James says that we should try to attach some form of immediate gratification so that we can make the habit immediately satisfying. For example, since starting my IT employment as an IT technician, I found that there is a university section in our company portal where the employees can learn new stuff. And then there are a lot of courses that you can join and learn. What's very nice and interesting is the gamification about it. Every course that you complete, you instantly get a reward or points for it. And by completing only a few courses, you can collect enough points to get something. And there's a system, an online shop there that you can buy things with your points. For example, by collecting 1,000 points, which I did several times, several thousands, you can have one full day off, or you can have free gym memberships, or you can get AirPods, phones, and discount cards for hotels, restaurants, and etc. So after reading the book and thinking about the company gamification portal, I realized that I needed to make this going to the gym thing more immediately satisfying. Sometimes I'm going to the gym after work, I will do my workout and then I will jump into the swimming pool, do like a length or just two for fun, and then go into the spa and just kind of read a book for like 20 minutes or something. And this sounds more privileged and spoiled, but like the fact that I've got these activities lined up after going to the gym makes the whole process of going to the gym more immediately satisfying, which means I'm far more likely to do it and go to the gym again and again after work while I'm pretty much tired. So by combining these laws and their opposites, we have got this diagram that comes from the book. We want to ensure that our good habits are positioned towards the left side of the spectrum to make them obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. And we want to work to make our bad habits more difficult by making the cues invisible, the action unattractive and hard, and the reward unsatisfying in an ideal world. We rarely stop to think about our own habits or plan for long-term change when we start a new regime like going to the gym. The great power of Atomic Habit is the emphasis that it places on systems rather than the goals, identity rather than outcomes, and small habits rather than drastic changes. There isn't a precise answer to how long it takes to build a muscle because habits are not a finish line to cross, but a lifestyle to live. The key part of this to remember is that small habits compound. Atomic habits may be individually small, but collectively and given time, they could hold remarkable power to bring remarkable changes to our lives. If you came this far and watched up to here, thank you very, very, very much for your time. Please hit the subscribe and the like buttons for the algorithms to do magic on my channel and help me grow atomically. You can also subscribe to get summaries of the books I read. The link is in the description below. And you can click on the links or the videos you see on the screen to watch other amazing videos on this channel. And I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.